Have you ever witnessed someone crumble internally, unable to cope with rejection, loss, criticism, or disappointment? Maybe you know someone like that, or maybe that person is you. Today's world is filled with people broken from within. Why? Because they handed over control of their lives to emotions, to others' opinions, or worse, to uncontrollable events. If you continue living like this, do you know where it ends? With constant anxiety, draining relationships, burnout, lack of purpose, and a feeling of emptiness that no achievement can ever truly fill. But there is another road, one that the Stoics walked over 2,000 years ago. And when applied today, that path can make you unshakable. My name is Adriano, and I've studied and practiced Stoicism for over 10 years, not as a theory, but as a survival manual for the soul. In this video, I'll share 4 Stoic lessons that changed my life, and might change yours too. Stay with me till the end, and you'll learn what strong people do to remain grounded, no matter what happens. Ever notice how most people let their entire day be controlled by someone else? One cruel comment, one piece of bad news, and they fall apart. Their mood shifts, their drive vanishes, and the day turns into a burden. That's because most of us live in a constant state of reactivity. We wake up already anxious about the day and spend our time reacting like puppets to everything around us. But Stoicism offers a different way, not by trying to control the world, but by mastering our response to it. That's true power. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." It sounds simple, but it holds one of the greatest truths for inner peace and emotional clarity. Picture this: you're driving to work and someone cuts you off. It happens to thousands every day. Most will curse, honk, stay angry for hours. They arrive at work poisoned by that single moment. But what changed in the world because of their rage? Nothing. The other driver moved on, but they sunk into toxic emotions over something beyond their control. The Stoic would respond differently. He'd feel the anger. We're human after all. But take a breath, notice it like a cloud passing in the sky, and let it go. Because he knows anger fixes nothing. It only delays, it drains, it disconnects you from your true self. And this isn't just about traffic. Think of how many times you obsessed over a critique at work trying to prove you were right. Or how a family member said something cruel and you reacted without thinking. Lost your patience, your logic, even your relationship. Reacting on impulse is easy. That's what most people do. But controlling how you respond, that's what separates the strong from the weak. And Will Smith, he's a vivid example of how mastering your reactions defines your strength. A respected and award-winning actor stood on one of the world's most watched stages, the Oscars, and had his honor tested. But instead of choosing calm, he surrendered to impulse. In just 1 second, with a single slap, he lost control. And with it, he lost millions in contracts, stained his name, and had to apologize to the public. What hurts most is that no one remembers the award he received that night, only the way he reacted. Can you see how real this is? How this could happen to anyone who hasn't learned to master their own power? The truth is, you don't need to live like that. You can train this ability to become someone who pauses before reacting, who asks, "Is my peace worth this?" One useful method is called anticipated inner dialogue. Take a moment before leaving home to imagine tough situations you might face. Someone might be rude. Things might go wrong. But if you mentally rehearse a Stoic response, your mind stays calm when the challenge appears. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, visualizing misfortunes in advance, not to become negative, but to avoid being caught off guard. And this isn't just ancient wisdom. Neuroscience backs it up. Studies show that pausing during emotional triggers activates the prefrontal cortex, not the impulsive limbic system. That means every time you train this pause between trigger and response, you strengthen your self-control. You might say, but it's hard. Of course it is. No real virtue is easy, but Stoicism isn't about perfection, it's about progress through practice. Imagine a life where you reacted less and reflected more, where your direction wasn't shaped by others, but by who you want to become. Keanu Reeves lived through deep losses. He lost his wife, his daughter, his closest friend, yet he remains composed, discreet, and kind. Surrounded by paparazzi, intrusive questions, and constant attention, he never lets chaos shape him. He is the quiet strength that doesn't need approval. And maybe that's why his silence speaks so loudly, because deep down, we all wish to be like that, and we can be. But it starts now. Next time you feel provoked, breathe. When you're about to react, reflect. Slowly you'll discover that the peace you seek doesn't come from outside. It comes from the choices you make every second, because when you accept you don't control events, but you command your response to them, you become untouchable. Have you ever realized how many decisions you've avoided simply out of fear of others' opinions? How often have you buried your dreams, silenced your truth, or stayed in a broken relationship just to avoid disappointing others while betraying yourself? The painful truth is that many people live more to please others than to truly live, and over time, that kills the soul. Every time you twist yourself to meet someone else's expectations, a piece of your true self fades into the background. Epictetus once said, "If you aim to improve, be okay with looking foolish to the unwise." But how ready are we to look foolish? Are we truly willing to face mockery, criticism, and being misunderstood just to hold on to our freedom? Most people aren't. That's why they live trapped in invisible chains, imprisoned by fear of judgment and the craving for approval. This cage is built early. Back in school, we're taught that fitting in matters more than being genuine. We grow up learning to avoid conflict, to blend in, to seem normal. But those who only try to fit in can never overflow with authenticity. Think of the last time you considered switching careers or starting something new without being sure of the outcome. Maybe you mentioned it to someone and heard, "Are you sure that doesn't pay?" Or, "You're leaving a stable job for this." You already live comfortably. Why take the risk? So you paused, you hesitated, you buried the idea. But that idea was yours. It was valid. And now it's hidden away with all the other dreams you gave up on to avoid being judged. Stoicism invites you to walk out of that mental prison and ask, who's steering my life, me or what others think of me? Amy Winehouse's story is heartbreaking but revealing, immensely gifted yet deeply wounded by public scrutiny. Media pressure, personal attacks, and lifestyle criticism slowly drained her spirit. Without emotional support, she sank. Not for lack of talent, but because she lacked shields against the noise around her. Contrast this with Lady Gaga's journey. Mocked for being too weird or too much, Gaga never abandoned who she was. What they ridiculed became her trademark. That uniqueness turned into power. This is the essence. Not letting someone else's opinion rewrite your reality. Science backs this up. A study from the Journal of Anxiety Disorders found that over 70% of young adults fear making key choices due to social judgment. That includes decisions about careers, or even simply saying no to something they don't want to do. What happens to them? They live in anxiety, regret, and frustration, not from lacking skill, but from lacking the bravery to live authentically. Epictetus also said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you respond that matters." In this case, true strength is refusing to be led by the crowd. Picture a simple moment. You share a photo online, someone makes a cruel comment, and suddenly you're devastated and delete it. You withdraw, all because of a remark from someone you probably don't even know. Or at dinner you mention a new idea you're exploring, a new philosophy, a different habit, something personal. And instead of curiosity, you're met with silence or sarcasm. And so, little by little, you stop sharing, stop expressing, stop evolving, just to be safe. But at what cost? Then comes that classic line, "Oh no, here comes the know-it-all," and suddenly you go quiet thinking, maybe I'm overdoing it. But the truth is that most people aren't used to those who think differently. And you shouldn't dim your light just to make others comfortable. Stoicism constantly reminds us that our worth doesn't depend on applause, but on our own inner alignment. You're truly free when you stop chasing approval and start living with integrity. Living authentically may cost you a few harsh judgments, but it gives you something far greater, the peace of being true to yourself. And that inner peace cannot be bought. You might disturb some, but you'll inspire many just by standing firm in your truth. Most importantly, you'll gain self-respect. Because when the day ends and your head hits the pillow, the only opinion you carry with you is your own. And when that opinion is at peace with your conscience, nothing can shake you. How many times have you argued over something that now feels meaningless? How many moments did you waste over-explaining, defending, or trying to prove something you never had to? Most people believe they must answer everything as if silence equaled weakness. But Stoic wisdom teaches the exact opposite. Seneca once said, "The best answer to anger is silence." And he wasn't promoting avoidance. He was teaching wisdom. Silence is not the lack of a response, it's the presence of self-control. It means you're in command, not indifferent. Think of how many daily conversations are pointless, filled with hidden jabs, veiled criticism, or attempts to provoke. Now imagine if you replied to all of them. How much energy would you waste? How much time would you throw away just to have the last word? Some people provoke simply to get a reaction. They want to knock you off balance and steal your focus. And when you respond impulsively, you hand them your power. The Stoic sees the trap but doesn't play. He understands that not every comment deserves an answer. In many cases, choosing not to react is the greatest show of strength. Social media is the perfect real-world example. You post something genuine, straight from the heart, and someone replies with sarcasm or aggression, completely uncalled for. Most people answer back. They debate, they waste energy. But for what? To prove they're right? To win a point? That doesn't empower you. That only drains you. Real power is staying untouched by the noise. Take Kanye West, for instance, a genius artist, but often defined by his outbursts. He's just as known for impulsive reactions as for his talent. The fallout has been clear: broken deals, a damaged public image, and lost opportunities that silence could have preserved. In contrast, Morgan Freeman almost never responds to public provocation. He avoids controversy, rarely engages in arguments, and still commands immense respect. And yet, or perhaps precisely because of that, their presence radiates calm authority and genuine respect. People tend to trust those who remain composed because someone who is calm isn't trying to defeat others. They are mastering themselves. Neuroscience supports this idea, showing that those who pause before reacting access brain regions tied to empathy, logic, and emotional intelligence. On the other hand, impulsive responses trigger the limbic system, which governs automatic reactions like fleeing or attacking. So the more you train yourself to observe in silence, the more clarity you gain, becoming less impulsive and more deliberate in your actions. Picture this. You're in a team discussion and someone makes a sarcastic remark aimed at you. The instinct is to snap back. But instead, you take a breath, listen calmly, and reply, "I hear your point. Shall we focus on solving the issue?" That's not weakness, that's strength. You didn't fall silent from fear. You chose silence from a place of power, and that shifts everything. You hold on to your dignity, and more importantly, you remain whole. This approach can even rescue relationships. How many arguments in couples start with a single harsh word that could have been ignored? How many friendships end for lack of knowing when to be quiet? In those moments, silence is not emptiness. It's presence, it's practical wisdom. Epictetus once said, "The one who remains unmoved by what is spoken against them holds true power." It's not about being passive. It's about consciously choosing your battles. You don't need to correct everyone, convince anyone, or justify yourself to everyone. That's not pride. It's emotional clarity and real freedom. Once you realize the world may say whatever it wants, but you decide what you absorb, you break free. And the most powerful part, when you fall silent out of wisdom, the other person realizes they have no control over you, and that's when you become untouchable. You blame yourself, punish yourself, but none of that rewrites the past. It only deepens the wound that once had already faded. Now it's you who's keeping it alive, and this is exactly what the Stoics referred to as chosen suffering. You didn't ask for the loss, but you're clinging to it. This isn't emotional coldness. It's a sign of maturity, recognizing that pain must be acknowledged, but not endlessly replayed. Robin Williams made the world laugh with brilliance, all while wrestling with an inner darkness he could not silence. Despite all the acclaim, the trophies, the status, he bore a deep wound that success couldn't heal, proving that neither fame nor money protects from suffering. Without inner tools to process pain, even the brightest among us can be overcome, and that can cost everything. Now reflect on Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years unjustly behind bars, missing youth, family, and freedom. Yet upon walking out of prison, he declared, "If I didn't leave behind bitterness and hate, I'd still be in prison." That's the essence of Stoic resilience. You don't choose the misfortune, but you do choose your response to it. Whether it's losing a job or being betrayed, you can either fall into despair or rise by learning, adapting, and evolving. Pain offers a key, but it's your decision whether to open a door to renewal or lock yourself in an emotional cell. Scientific studies by the American Psychological Association confirm that those who embrace emotions recover faster and are less prone to depression. Accepting your reality doesn't mean you approve of it. It means you stop resisting what already is. This doesn't mean you won't cry or feel the weight. You're human. Stoicism simply invites you to feel it with awareness and turn pain into strength. Imagine if you could meet pain not as an enemy, but as a mentor. What would change in your life if you used every wound as a lesson? You've suffered enough from what happened. Now you suffer for being stuck, but you can choose differently. Begin by asking, what is this pain teaching me? Epictetus said, "Circumstances don't shape the man. They simply reveal him to himself." Pain shows who you are and who you can become. So if you're facing a heavy season right now, remember this. Pain is unavoidable, but suffering is optional. And when you meet your pain with courage, when you turn wounds into wisdom, you become unshakable, immovable, and truly untouchable. Because strength born from within cannot be taken from you. It grows from the inside out, and what comes from within is unbreakable. You can't dictate what unfolds in the world, but you have full command over how you respond to it. That's the turning point, because the moment you quit resisting what's out of reach and start mastering what's within, everything shifts. This transformation doesn't require years of training, just one clear choice, the choice to take control. The choice to pause before reacting on impulse, to remain steady when faced with criticism, and to stop feeding the wounds of your past. It's also the decision to stay silent when silence holds more wisdom than words ever could. And above all, it's remembering each and every day that your real strength doesn't come from outside approval. It is born from your own mind, your courage to endure, and the power you claim by choosing who you will be. If these words sparked something in you, if at any point you thought this message is for me, then you're ready. You're prepared to take the next step. Watch the video that's now showing on your screen. That next video will guide you up one more step in this Stoic path, helping you grow at least 1% beyond who you were. Thank you for being with me until now. My name is Adriano, and I'll see you in the next video, with more insight, more clarity, and a bit more mastery over your own inner world.